Hey there, welcome to Studio 5. Today we're sitting down with actress Lupita Nyong'o, then taking a look at a new film about the mother of Jesus, and we've got a preview of a For King and Country concert coming to the big screen, and it's coming just in time for Christmas. Let's begin with Lupita. The Academy Award-winning actress, author, and podcaster is quite busy these days. We caught up with her just as the film The Wild Robot was hitting theaters, and it's still going strong. It's lights, camera, action on Hollywood red carpets, and actress Lupita Nyong'o is a fashion favorite, wowing fans since her breakout role in the 2013 film 12 Years a Slave.
I went to Master Shaw's plantation.
You admit it?
Yes, really.
Playing Patsy, a young enslaved woman, earned Nyong'o her first Academy Award nomination.
And the Oscar goes to Lupita Nyong'o.
And her first big win.
When I look down at this golden statue, may it remind me and every little child that no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid.
And her acting dreams continue to come true. Lupita has landed quite a few plum roles. Star Wars The Force Awakens in 2015, Queen of Katwe in 2016, and Black Panther in 2018, and again in 2022.
Hello. I am Rosm7134.
Her latest role is a robot in the now critically acclaimed animated film, The Wild Robot.
Do you have any information on how to take care of this unit?
So, did you spend a lot of time listening to Siri and Alexa at home to get us started?
Yes, bingo. I did. Your dialect is not in my databanks. Tell your people not to worry. Rosm7134 will sort out this language barrier in no time.
I listened to a lot of automated voice sounds, and Siri and Alexa were some of them, as well as the voices on TikTok and Instagram. And what I felt was the same, or they're all very optimistic voices, very bright, and that definitely inspired my voice.
The film is inspired by the Wild Robot book series, where Roz finds herself stranded in the wilderness with unfamiliar creatures.
Are those your parents?
I know predators, and those are predators.
Why does Lupita as Roz 7134, a robot, make us cry?
Well, I think Rosm7134 makes us cry because, number one, she doesn't have facial expressions.
What are they saying?
They want me to come with them.
Tell them you're already home.
What she has is a mission to be of help. And we get that from the very start of the movie. And she goes about trying to do that. But in order to do that, she's a fish out of water. She's an alien in this environment, and she has to adapt to it in order to actually finally achieve her goal. And I think we cry because we recognize the importance of adaptation in order to survive, but also the importance of staying true to yourself. Yeah. And I think that's something that we sometimes struggle with.
I am already home, thank you.
You do not belong here. This is a wilderness.
There are many real-life lessons in this animated wilderness, and none are lost on Lupita. I've heard you say that you live life in gratitude and allowing for bounty.
Yes.
What does that mean? Explain, if you don't mind.
You know, first of all, it's a lesson I learned from my mother. She was inspired by the prayer of Jabez, and that talks about increasing your bounty. I think that sometimes we are so poised for struggle and strife that we sometimes do not allow for the blessings. It's almost like to ask for more is to be greedy, it's to be selfish. Yeah. And so we can sometimes kind of limit our blessings. But the lesson my mom taught me is that there is always room for more blessings. That if you believe in a God, he is not punitive. He's not a limited one. The idea that there's enough to go around, and so if you've been blessed, you can be blessed more. It's also about, like, you know, being content where you are, but also allowing for more, because there'll always be struggle. And when that happens, it is your bounty that will see you through.
I feel like you've been very intentional about doing projects to reach out to children and younger people, from your book to doll to you name it. Why? What's driving that intention?
Well, I like children. I like them. I've always loved children. Like when I was little, I was the child that wanted to babysit my little sister and not go out and play. I've always loved children. So I've always gravitated to them. I always wanted children of my own. So I think there's that. But then I also think that the work of being an adult is healing your childhood wounds. So I think that in working at things that are for children, I heal my childhood wounds.
And that little girl who was born in Mexico and grew up in Kenya is living her American dream on the Hollywood red carpet, intentionally working to inspire other young dreamers. Her podcast, Mind Your Own with Lupita Nyong'o, is available right now. And again, The Wild Robot is still available to see. Still to come.
But it's not possible.
All things are possible.
It's a coming-of-age biblical epic on Jesus' mother, Mary. The film's director gives us an exclusive look.
A lot of what Mary's battling over 2,000 years ago, the youth of today are dealing with now. And so if she can be a role model to a 17-year-old girl, 16.
Welcome back to Studio 5. We've got your first look at Mary. It's a biblical epic giving us an intimate look at the life of Jesus' mother.
Mary, your birth was a gift for your mother and I. It was a miracle. But in exchange, I made a promise.
So, DJ, I understand you grew up Catholic. Was it your Catholic faith that informed your desire to do a film about the birth of Christ through the eyes of Mary?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was obviously a big contributing factor, right, being there. But it also was from a cinematic experience, too, looking at her character and seeing where this screenplay was and telling the story of this young woman and everything that she had to go through. I felt like, yes, obviously coming from a place of faith, but also was sort of I wanted to reintroduce her or like have someone take a different look at her story from her perspective.
I don't know why, but I was chosen for this.
We have a tendency to deify biblical characters as if they're not human, right? So are you thinking, as you're working on this project and telling this story, I want people to realize this is a human being.
Yeah, that's very, very important to me. That was probably one of the most important aspects, because in order to get closer into understanding someone that we've revered for so long, and not to look at them from a distance.
Let it be understood, I am your king.
This is a young woman, right, who's sort of thrust into this, and to deal with pregnancy when she wasn't married and the ostracization that she gets, and then to meet Joseph, who's sort of her fiance from an arranged, all this stuff, to experience that from her point of view and to see her apprehensions, to experience her fears, and then to understand at the end of all that, she still makes the decision to say, let it be done to me.
I'm gonna bring this child into the world with love.
I don't care what they say. I will love you as best as I can.
A lot of what Mary's battling over 2,000 years ago, the youth of today are dealing with now. And so if she can be a role model to a 17-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl, one of the great compliments I got after showing the movie to my family was my 17-year-old daughter said, I never saw Mary to be so cool. Like, Mary's really cool. And I was like, okay, great. That to me is a victory to hear a young woman say that, right?
You are far more powerful than words, child.
We have Noah Cohen as Mary. What went into the decision? What did you see in her that made her the person?
What I loved about Noah, even from the very first audition, because we saw hundreds of girls, and just seeing Noah's audition you know, it's true. You just feel it. You can sense it. And I just saw this beauty and this grace, but I also saw this accessibility. Like in between takes, I can see her like laughing and doing stuff. And so I said, great. So the casting director's like, please get me on with her right away.
You are to have a son.
But that's not possible.
All things are possible.
Gosh, what a blessing. And the fact that she's from the region where Mary's from was just another blessing to me, to think like this is meant to be. Because, you know, being a man of faith, like when I started this project, I just prayed. I said, I have to find the right Mary. Like, this is the most important thing. I can't settle. I have to make sure I know in my soul that she's the right one. And she was. And I think it's her beauty, grace, and most importantly, her accessibility.
Where is he? Tell me! Where is he?
Love would cost you dearly. It will pierce your heart.
How has your understanding and perception of Mary changed from start to now?
My perception changed of Mary, and I think it was the goal of my intent, sort of my thesis in jumping off, was what was the human Mary like and what did she go through? And it's brought me closer to her. And I feel like I admire, more so than ever, the courage and the faith and the grace it took for her to become the Holy Mother.
What's your prayer now?
My prayer now is that around the world, the youth can see this film and filter out the noise that's all coming at them, and realizing that there's two paths we take, right? My prayer is that people can follow God's grace and not let sort of the rat race of mankind or you know, the nature of man be what don't worry about the likes and the this and your Instagram and your looks and this and that, but really work on your heart and work on your soul and follow God's grace. So that's my prayer, that more people take that path.
Love will save the world.
And Mary streams to Netflix beginning December 6th. We need to take a quick break right here, but as we do, we want to share this week's story and pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
In keeping with the holiday season, we're pulling from the pages of Dolly Parton's latest children's book. It's Billy the Kid Comes Home for Christmas. It's a new sequel to her picture book, Dolly Parton's Billy the Kid Makes It Big. We're also sampling a few holiday photos from the Dolly Parton Christmas archives. The new book and Dolly are this week's Studio 5 snapshot. Just moments away.
He offers us redemption, a fresh start, freedom.
It's For King and Country and A Drummer Boy's Christmas.
Welcome back. A Drummer Boy Christmas is the cinematic concert experience from For King and Country, sharing the story of the Nativity with familiar songs and original music.
He's the most famous name around the globe, inspired the most read book ever written. He reconnected us to heaven, and in turn brought heaven down to earth.
Introduce us to what we can expect when we get in the theater for this.
Earlier this year through Lionsgate, we released our sort of family's biopic, Unsung Hero, to theaters. We took the Unsung Hero film crew, dropped them into the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, December 19th last year, and we captured a cinematic, sonic, visual version of the show, a live concert.
We can hold our heads high and march through this life knowing that we're never alone. That every woman and man, every girl and boy, to all of us who feel like we have nothing left to bring, nothing to give, that we can know that God is smiling at us.
For people who have seen a For King and Country performance live, what would you say is the addition, the bonus for seeing it on a screen?
We didn't want to create an experience where it felt like someone was a bird's eye view looking in, you know? We rented the arena a second day, and we brought in 1,000 extras. So we shot all the wide stuff with 12,000 people in the room, but then we shot all of this up close and personal, really beautiful cinematic Steadicam shots. And so it's a live show. It's you know, we love pageants, we love Christmas plays, we love going to see the Rockettes. And so this is our version of sort of Cirque du Soleil, Trans-Siberian Orchestra for King and Country this Christmas, a Drummer Boy Christmas live.
Tell me about the set list, some of the songs that people will get to experience. And I say not just hear, but experience.
What's so special about the Christmas season is you have these songs that some are hundreds of years old, and yet they're so much more resonant now than they ever have been with people. Songs like Silent Night, or O Come, O Come Emmanuel, or Do You Hear What I Hear, or The Little Drummer Boy. And we've been able to take these incredibly powerful, spiritual, beautiful songs and give them this sort of for king and country flair. And we've laced in a few, for king and country original Christmas songs and a for king and country year-rounders sort of tucked away in the set list as well. But just to celebrate the greatest holiday of the year after a very, tumultuous year for the United States in many ways, to celebrate hope and love and redemption and unity in the theaters with these incredibly beautiful songs, it's sort of a pinch yourself moment, if I dare say so.
To think that a baby boy born in a stable, no prestige or privilege, no social media or social status, political campaigns or private airplanes.
This is not just a wanted holiday for the world. I think it's a needed holiday for the world. Look, I love this country. I'm an immigrant. I moved from Australia to the United States when I was young. I'm married an American. I've built a home here. I'm proud to be part of this great land. But we face a lot, and there's a lot of division and a lot of separation. Even after the pandemic, I felt like there was racial tension, there was political division, there was social isolation. And just one time every year for us to take a snapshot and go, we're going to celebrate this great gift that God gave humanity. We're going to celebrate love and joy and peace, these hallmark fruits, if you will, that humanity is built on. I just think it's so needed. And I think that's part of the reason we love singing about it and celebrating it in live performance so much, is because it's necessary.
That you are enough. So light up that Christmas tree. Stand under the mistletoe. Surround yourself with the ones that you love the most. And together, let us celebrate the greatest news that this world has ever known.
A Drummer Boy Christmas is in theaters December 5th through the 12th. Welcome back to Studio 5. Music helps us to bring you this show each and every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Tori Kelly and JoJo. Take a listen and you'll hear why Bottom Line is what's playing in my ear this week.
I want you to be mine all the time. I know the time. I want you to be mine all the time. That's bottom line. I want you to be mine all the time. I know the time. Don't want to share. Don't want somebody new. Mine all the time. Mine all the time. I want you to be mine all the time. That's bottom line. I want you to be mine all the time. Mine all the time. Don't want to share. Don't want somebody new.
Mine all the time, mine all the time. That's the bottom line. It's a vibe for sure. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a quick look at what we have in store for you come next week.
Listen carefully, because I'm going to tell you what is about to happen.
Gearing up for a new season of The Chosen. Studio 5 is sitting down with its star, Jonathan Rumi, for a behind-the-scenes look at what's ahead.
So if you could, now that we've come so far, look back over the course of your life, your acting career, have you spotted signs that you were being prepared for this, called to this?
1,000%. I mean, from the time I was 11 or 12 years old.
11 or 12?
Yeah, well, where I reenacted the Passion in my backyard after having watched Jesus of Nazareth.
Be sure to join us for that next week and so much more. As for this week, we've got time for just one more thing. Let's give that to Lupita Nyong'o. She's got this week's final word. Mind Your Own? What's that?
Yes. That is my podcast. It is an African, well, it's a storytelling show from the African perspective. So in each episode, I share a story from my own life, and then I tee it off to an African somewhere in the world who shares a story of a similar theme from their life. And for me, it was about just expanding our idea of what it means to be African and what global African identity looks like. And it was a way to cure my homesickness, to be honest.
That's a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and for this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching.